Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, or simply tied. Your soul medicine, it gets revived. The warrior line, soul tribe. Assembly's live, it's friendly vibes. Your soul medicine will give you life. You're a warrior, let's get this right. Warrior line, soul tribe. Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial. Warrior line, soul tribe, Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, or simply tied. Your soul medicine, it gets revived. The warrior line, soul tribe, Assembly's live, it's friendly vibes. Your soul medicine will give you life. You're a warrior, let's get this right. Warrior line, soul tribe, Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial.
Welcome back to Warrior Line Podcast, Soul Tribe Podcast. I hope you like my new t-shirt. Just got the t-shirts out. Thanks to my daughter. I appreciate her work in this and getting these done for me. But yeah, Warrior Line Soul Tribe Podcast, we're here to just, try to bring some sense to the unsensible, some just what we're going on in our world right now and dealing with this situation. And I want to talk about some more cruise reading, continue with this book that I read on my last cruise, The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Real good. He made a statement in there that really stuck with me all through the readings when I read it. He said these words. He said, "A con's only talent is being a con. A con's only talent is being a con." He said this: "There is a thin line between a fairy tale and an enormous con." And that's where we're at right now. We are dealing with a situation that we have been lied to so much. We've been, just brainwashed, indoctrinated to believe in anything, and we make the truth and the fairy tales and the fairy tales and the truth. So, but the con artist's only talent is being a con. And the question is, how long are we going to listen to it? How long are we going to settle for it? When are we going to finally tell the truth about this con that's going on, this con that's always been going on throughout American history? Because their only talent is being a con. And it just seems to me that you have to be a certain type of people that when you've been lied to over and over, when you have the audio and the video evidence of the lie, and you still trust and believe in the liar, in the con artist, is it a con or is it a cult? Or a combination thereof, because we've been in this situation far too long not to realize what it is, what it's all about, and who it's all about. But I want to read a passage that was very revealing how we today can help us today in this situation, that we should never stand for, that we've been conned into, some people been conned into believing that just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. Just because somebody says something, just because it's true. Just because a person in power, in a power position, says something doesn't mean it's true. Just because it comes from a government official doesn't mean it's true. Everything to be verified, because the con artist's only talent is to con people into believing what they know not to be true based on evidence. That's the con artist's talent. That's their talent, to have people believe in things that they can see for themselves. Verified evidence is not true. So in the book, in the message, I'm going to read a passage that he talked about when he was in school at Howard. It says this is page 77. "In my freshman year, I took an intro to psychology class from Dr. Jules Harrell. I've known him in a previous life as Baba Jules, a ventriloquist, and one of the men assembled to take me through the rites of passage when I was 14. Now at Howard, I was forever stumbling in calling him Baba when I meant to say doctor. This confusion was made more difficult early in the semester when he announced that we would have a guest lecturer in our next session, Dr. William Shockley. I did not know whom Dr. William Shockley was. 2 days later, Dr. Harrell, or Baba Jules, walked in the classroom and promptly introduced himself as Dr. Shockley. This was confusing enough, but then this Dr. Shockley proceeded to spend the class presenting his argument, which held in sum that the gap between black people and white people and test scores of life outcomes was because black people were inherently less intelligent than white people. Class ended and we walked out, somewhat stunned by both the content and the device. But our next session, it was made clear that confusion was no excuse. It was a Monday. Dr. Harrell was himself again, and before he went into today's lecture, he offered a firm directive. Don't ever in your life let someone say what I said to you Friday and offer no response. Don't ever in your life let anybody say what I said to you Friday and offer no response. So he came in as a doctor. It was him, and then he told them they were less than intelligent than their white counterparts, and the students, because they was in a position of being students, just felt and believed that they had to sit there and listen to them, take that and accept that, and then walked out of the class with no protest, with no comeback. And that's what we're in society today. That's where we've always been. Why do we listen to lies that we know are lies? Why do people have to prompt you and to try to lift you up to believe when you know something's not true? You know it was a lie. You know you've seen it with your own eyes. You've seen it with your own self. And so we look at this situation we're in. This is a life lesson. Why do people sit there and listen to, support, uplift, and people who you know that they're lying? You know what they can and can't do. You know what they're saying is not true. Not because something you heard somewhere, not because something you feel, not because something you think, but based on the evidence that you know. Why do you believe that January 6th was not an insurrectionist? When you know what you've seen on TV, you've seen that with your own eyes, you've seen it in HD, you've seen it live and live in color. This is not 1854 where you get some newspaper reports that came 6 months after the event. We've seen it live and live in color. Why do we believe lies that when people say something about other people or situations why do we fall for the con? Because the con is part of the system. The con is part of the game. The con is your legitimacy. And in this case, when black students are told that the gap between black intelligence and white intelligence is different, because that's the con. Because since the founding of the country, it was always con to believe that the white superiority, which is white supremacy, and you sit there and take it, and you sit there with no protest, and you sit there with no response. This is what the con artist wants, because the con artist's only talent is to get you to believe what you know is not true, and then actually feel good about it, and then actually act upon it. And that's how the con artist has you. When you do things for a con artist, when you know he's a con, when they basically self-admit that they're a con, when they base their lie, their con on no facts, no evidence, nothing to base on, but simply they're just saying it. This is a con that leads to a cult. And you find yourself doing things based on evidence that's totally against it, that you can see for yourself. The audio and the video don't match, and yet you go for it and you fall for it. This is a con. It's because we are a fairy tale nation. We are a nation that loves our fairy tales. We're a nation that love our lives. We're a nation that get caught up in the con because the con makes us feel good. The con makes us feel good about slavery. The con makes us feel good about treating women as second-class citizens with no respect. The con makes us feel good about, the con is our permission structure to believe what we want to believe and actually feel good about it because somebody said it that we fall for because they got talent, and we believe it because we trust them, because that's the way it's always been. And so the message from the message is, don't ever sit there, don't ever just believe something just because people say it. Follow up, get evidence, find the facts, find the evidence of what they're saying. And then when you clearly see something with your own eyes, never ever let anybody tell you to deny what your eyes have seen. Never allow anybody to tell you what you've seen with your own eyes, heard with your own ears. Because then they have you, but then your mind is not your own. You are subject to the con artists because they can tell you anything. And this is why we're here where we are now, because we have fallen for the con artists. and we've fallen for the lie. We've fallen for the fairy tales, just like we have throughout American history. The Civil War wasn't about slavery; it was about states' rights. It wasn't about this. It was about that, because we believe the con, and then we rehabilitate the con artists based on their lives, because it's more comfortable to believe the con than to fight for the truth. The message: the con's only talent is that they're a con artist. Why do we continue to fall for it? Why do we continue to fall for the fairy tales and lies? Don't believe the con. Believe your own eyes. Believe your ears. Do fact checking. Do research. Follow up. Ask questions. Protest. Never ever let anybody put you down without protest. Stand up for yourself and believe your own eyes. That's the message.
Warrior Line, Soul Tribe, Assemblies Live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, or simply tied. Your soul medicine, it gets revived. The Warrior Line, Soul Tribe, Assemblies Live, it's friendly vibes. Your soul medicine will give you life. You're a warrior, let's get this right. Warrior Line, Soul Tribe, Assemblies Live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial.